Have you ever noticed that great things happen in smaller groups? This is one of the things that's important for me as I build the Wisdom Trust community. That we want to reach the masses. We want to connect with lots of men over 50, gay men over 50. But we also want to understand that it's in smaller group connections where real transformation can happen. So we may first come into a community and kind of look around and wonder, well, how do I fit in here? Who am I going to ally with? Who's going to be the guy that I, you know, get most comfortable with, or the guys? And that little transition can take some time. That's a bit of the journey. But what we know is by using small groups. So, for example, in a big community group, and this is what we've done over the years as facilitators, which is what I've done for 3 decades, is you take that large group and you make them break into smaller buzz groups, if you will, working groups, discussion groups. And it's in that smaller group context where real shifts begin to happen, where people start to open up, where people can share a little bit more deeply. You feel less vulnerable opening up to 3 or 4 people than you might to a group of 100 people, for example. Like, some people like the stage and they're going to take it wherever they can, right? But for most of us, we'll find that it's more intimate, it's more safe when we are in a small group. So this is important because we want people to start to recognize others, to start to know others' names. And that's what happens in smaller groups. You remember that story that the person told, you remember something you felt around what they were sharing. And it's in the feeling that the connection actually happens. A whole bunch of information put out there can just be more noise, right? It doesn't sink in, you forget about it. But when you're having a small group discussion and there's that greater sense of intimacy and closeness, then there is the remembering, there is the real and more authentic connection. There's less opportunity for us to get distracted and, you know, move our attention somewhere else. And in that sense of that smaller group, this sort of micro community within the bigger community, we start to develop trust. And you will see people in communities like the one I'm building, where initially they are reluctant to participate, but then all of a sudden, a share happens, and it's like, oh, okay, that person is ready. And then from there, they develop the confidence first and the trust second to be able to share. And we want to foster as much as we can opportunities for this. So we create different entry points for access, shall you say. So in our community, for example, there's the general community, the broader community, and then we have a small, more intimate community where there's more FaceTime, where you can meet with smaller groups and have more facilitated discussions, more engagement, and really dive deeper into getting to know each other. And that's kind of the point, right? We want the conversations to deepen at some point. It's good to have sort of more meta, more broad reflection kind of discussions and navigate those. But then when you take those into the smaller group, it totally shifts the energy. So the conversations deepen, and there's no need for the facilitator to play a bigger role because now the conversation is flowing. It's not stagnant. It's not disrupted. It's really kind of takes on a life of its own. What's really beautiful about this, and what we're fostering in the Wisdom Trust, is it gives us gay men, even as we meet people as strangers in a new community, who quickly become non-strangers or familiar, and then more quickly become, brothers, if you want to use that term, is that a lot of our gay lives, we've had to wear a number of masks. Like, people could argue, well, we wear masks all of our lives, depending on what context we're in. We've got a different mask on. But what if we can take those masks off? What if we can come into a space where we can feel like our contributions are valued, where we can feel like, oh, yeah, I want to share something, but I'm not quite sure how to do that. Right. And we're able to take those masks off and be a little bit more vulnerable, to open up in ways that maybe we haven't for a long, long time, if ever. This is why in the wisdom years, we want to have more opportunities for this. There aren't a lot of spaces for aging gay men to connect and communicate. Yes, you have your social outlets. You can go, for your drinks at the gay bar if if they happen to be around where you are, or if alcohol is part of your thing, and dinner parties and things like that. Yes, 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 of course, but we need also more focused spaces where there's less of that socializing element and more of that connecting element. Those are two different things. The connection is an important element of socializing, but then we want to take connection to a deeper level. You know, like we were talking about this in a recent discussion, and one of the guys said, "Like, how many of those people that I kind of call my friends even actually know what I do?" And that's kind of an example of, how it's not like we're going to come together in the Wisdom Trust and talk about, well, what do you do, and give me the details and minutia. But it's an example of how we don't always, we make assumptions and we don't always know that a deeper level of the people that we might even be calling our friends. And that's not a criticism of gay men. That's just how we socialize in many respects. A lot of it is kept very superficial, very safe, and that can be another area of wearing the mask, right? We present in certain ways, and then when we go home, we might reflect in different ways. We might feel differently, in the safety and the confines of our own space. And sometimes that's why at this stage in life, some of us choose not to engage as much, choose to stay home because it just feels safer and in many ways easier. But we want to change that. It's not, not like we're trying to make you all the social butterflies. That's not the point. But we do want you to feel like, I want to contribute. I want to have conversations. I want to meet guys who I align with, who I gel with, who I feel a resonance with. I'm all about energy, and we are essentially just energetic beings, and we vibrate at certain frequencies, right? And ideally, as we age and move into this wisdom years, our vibration should be augmenting, it should be elevating, ideally, right? So we're moving into a deeper knowing of self. And that vibratory quality that we were at, that's going to attract others at that level. As we vibrate at a higher frequency, that's what we attract. And so in the Wisdom Trust, we're doing a little bit of that high vibe work, to be honest. We're bringing guys together who are ready for those deeper conversations. And not all of you are interested in that, and that's totally fine. But for those of us who are looking for that different kind of alignment, that's not maybe sex based, that's not maybe, oh, is there nakedness involved? you know, it's about conversation, it's about connection, it's about deepening. So that's why it's important to do this work and to bring elements of smaller connections. And we have the circle within the Wisdom Trust. The circle is a smaller group of guys that comes together, and because they're ready, they want to do this deeper connection. You're welcome to join the community at whatever level of entry you want, right? But we encourage those of you who are more deeply connected and committed and want that deeper resonance to join, to subscribe to the circle. And that's where we get to dive a little bit deeper together. And you also get to play a role in shaping the community a little bit more as well. So I'll leave you today with this question. When have you experienced the deepest growth? Was it in a crowd environment or in a small group where you felt safe enough to be yourself? So when did you feel or have experienced the deepest growth? Was it in a crowd environment or in a circle where you felt safe enough to be yourself, a smaller group? So just reflect on that. And if you want, sure, go ahead and comment where you're watching this. And I would love to hear from you. And again, check out the Wisdom Trust. We'd love to have you there. I'll see you tomorrow.